Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about Spectredivide, the game that Shroud was a part of in some way, and how it's shutting down very soon. We're going to be on Dexerto today. This is by Brad Norton. Thank you for the article. It'll be linked down in the description if you would like to check it out for yourself. The title goes, Shroud Spectredivide shuts down just 6 months after launch. Now, I actually played Spectredivide when it launched, and honestly, I was very unimpressed. Like, it was fun, but like it didn't really do anything new. Some of the mechanics were very frustrating. The two bodies, one player thing honestly didn't really connect. I didn't really like it, and it just didn't feel that good. The shooting felt really weird in my opinion. It felt like it wanted you to not aim down sights, but it was an aim down sight shooter, and it just felt really weird, honestly. And it's why I only played it for a couple days. And it seems like my opinion was kind of the majority, because everyone seemed to just not care about the game. I mean, Shroud barely even played it. Like, he played like the first on launch day and he never played it again. So I mean, like, when literally your literal person that is involved, your content creator that's involved in the game, doesn't play it after the first day, that's not a good sign. It was not a good look. Before we get deeper into the article, I'd like to remind everyone, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it if you do. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and once we do, we'll be doing a Q&A video, so if you'd like to see that, please subscribe. Shroud's very own tactical shooter Spectredivide is officially shutting down merely 6 months after its launch. Players' count struggles are also leading to the closure of its development team. Yeah, I was about to say, unfortunately, there's just so much competition in this field of game, and it just didn't do anything that people were really excited about. Spectredivide went live on September 3rd, 2024. Now, a half a year later, developers at Mountain Top Studios have announced the game is being taken offline. The tactical shooter, backed by FPS legend and streaming superstar Shroud, flipped the script on the genre by effectively letting players control 2 characters at a time. The novel concept proved popular at first, with tens of thousands jumping in to check it out. Yep, I mean, I checked it out in the very beginning too. However, it's proven to struggle in the long term, with the player count dwindling and ultimately failing to rebound. Yeah, it's honestly, for me, it was because the game felt weird, and just like the 2-player thing didn't really work in my opinion. Like, it really wasn't that big of a deal, and most of the time it was just felt like a worse version of Valorant, and in a lot of ways it was like not better than Valorant in terms of like the agent design and like the crazy abilities people can have, but the shooting wasn't as good as Counter-Strike. So like it was like literally the worst of both worlds. Even with the game's first major seasonal update, it hasn't been able to draw enough players back, and such the devs have made the decision to cease development. As a result, the studio behind the game is also being shut. It sucks that the whole thing is being shut down, but it's not that surprising. It's too bad that the game studio itself is being shut down, because I still think they could make a good game. Because I mean, like, the problem with Spectredivide isn't necessarily that the game is bad. It just feels weird to play. I think I kind of wish that these guys had a second chance, like make a different game, but it looks like that's not going to happen. Announced on March 12th, 2025, Spectredivide is officially going offline as the Season 1 launch failed to achieve the level of success needed to sustain the game and keep Mountain Top afloat. Studio co-founder and CEO Nat Mitchell said, while initially the team was optimistic following the update, drawing roughly 400,000 players in total with a peak concurrent player count of 10,000 across all platforms, it simply wasn't enough, and the numbers haven't been sustained. We haven't seen enough active players and incoming revenue to cover the day-to-day costs of Spectre and the studio. We're out of funding to support the game. That means Mountain Top will be closing its doors at the end of this week. That's too bad. Honestly, it really does suck, because I do feel like these guys, if you give these guys another chance, I think they could make a good game. I mean, the problem is that I just think it's a fool's errand to make a multiplayer FPS game right now. Like, it's just so difficult to do it, because you have to fight Valorant and Counter-Strike 2, and honestly, like, okay, if you're making a tactical game, you're fighting Counter-Strike and Valorant, which is incredibly difficult. Both of them are free to play, and they have very entrenched player bases. If you go the more casual route, well, then you're fighting Call of Duty, which is never going to be a winning fight. And if you try to go the big scale, you're fighting Battlefield and I feel like Battlefield is really the big one right now. And if you go super hardcore, but then you're fighting things like Armor and Squad and stuff like that. And it's a no-win situation, especially with the new Battlefield game apparently being really good behind closed doors. So like, I just don't think making a multiplayer FPS game right now is a good idea. Like, maybe making like a roguelike co-op game or something like that with FPS stuff, that could work, but like multiplayer FPS is so saturated right now, and the big ones, like, you're just not fighting them. it's just a losing battle. It's like with Fragpunk right now, I just don't see, like, it looks interesting, it looks cool, but I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be making a video about that game in a couple months as well. The studio allegedly sought outside investment, an external publisher, and even full acquisition, but none of it came to pass. The industry is in a tough spot right now, Michael's stressed. Spectredivide is expected to be taking offline within the next 30 days, and any money spent by players since Season 1 dropped will be refunded. I mean, that's nice that they actually were able to refund people. All of us knew from the beginning the odds were against us, but that's what we signed up for. It was never a surefire bet. We did it anyway. Yeah, I mean, this is the official statement. And it's just, yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of shutdowns with these style of games because you just can't fight Counter-Strike, Valorant, Call of Duty, and Battlefield. You just can't. It's just like every MMO trying to fight World of Warcraft and they all slowly died. You just can't do it. You have to try to do something new. And unfortunately, Spectredivide just didn't do enough new. It was too much of the same. In the live service era, numerous games have suffered a similar fate. PlayStation's Concord is a key example. I think Concord failed way harder, but I agree. Having been entirely erased mere weeks after it went out, not just weeks, it was like literally 1 week. Ubisoft X Defiant serves as another recent example. Yep, have struggled against the competition and ultimately met its demise in similar ways. I disagree with X Defiant only because I feel like Ubisoft is also a part of that problem. Because if X Defiant, I think, was a different studio, I think it would have actually had a better chance, but we'll see. Now Spectredivide joins the growing list. As the time of writing, Shroud has yet to comment on the matter, but we'll keep you posted on that changes. I mean, he barely talked about it after his first what's it called, his first stream on the game. Like, he basically never talked about it ever again. He played it maybe a couple days, but like, he basically wasn't involved. Given the game's struggle since launch, the Twitch streamer had largely distanced himself from the project, suffering from layoffs, microtransaction struggles, and core gameplay issues. Even Shroud himself rage quit the game at times. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was not, he basically, like, when your key figure stops playing your game like 2 to 3 days after the launch day, it's not a good sign. So it's not super surprising that that's what happened. I am sad that the studio's shutting down because I do think they could make a good video game. I just think they chose an incredibly difficult market to get into, and I just wish some of these devs would stop trying to do this, because I feel like you guys can make a good game, but it doesn't need to be multiplayer or like the competitive multiplayer stuff, because like, you can't fight Counter-Strike and Valorant right now. You just can't. Like, I feel like I'm going to be making this same video about Fragpunk in like 6 months to a year. Fragpunk at least is doing a lot of difference, but like, we'll see how it goes. But it really does feel like you can't just do certain genres. Like, the multiplayer FPS genre, the MMO genre, is everyone keeps trying to make games like this, and you're just not going to beat the big dogs unless you're backed by huge things. But even when you're backed by PlayStation and Ubisoft, it doesn't work. So it's just, I don't know. And especially when they did the Season 1 and you have 400,000 players in total, 10,000 across all platforms with a peak concurrent, like, if that isn't enough, there's something wrong there, because like, that's a lot of players for a game like this. And if that isn't enough, then I don't feel like any other game can do this, because like, I don't think any other game is getting even close to that. I mean, even Fragpunk, like I've talked before, didn't reach these numbers, and it's apparently doing very well right now. But that's only a couple days out of launch as the time of recording this video. So who knows when it comes to that. Hopefully all the people in the studio can bounce back and find new jobs and stuff, because they did make an okay game. The problem is the game just wasn't enough in so many areas. And I did hear about the terrible microtransaction stuff in the first couple days. So hopefully the people can land on their feet, and hopefully people will learn. I hope more companies and people learn that I just think fighting the big dogs is not worth it right now. Especially if Spectredivide if the studio made a few games before they made Spectredivide, so they can grab a fan base, make a couple games before you try to do something like this, because you need a fan base to stay, and you need to make it more sustainable. So making smaller games and then making a big game, and then making smaller games and then making a big game. But the problem is with multiplayer games, that's just not the expectation nowadays, because a multiplayer game is expected to be a live service now. So Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a no-win situation making these styles of games, and I feel like we're going to be having a lot of videos of me talking about studios shutting down and games being shut down. Thank you for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. I really appreciate it. Hit the like button if you liked it. Dislike it if you dislike it. I understand. Comment down below what you guys think about this if you ever checked out the Spectredivided or Divided. I always say Divided. I don't know why. Spectredivide if you would like to if you checked it out or not. Other than that, thank you everyone for watching. Please go over to my Twitch channel if you'd like to check me out there. I also have a Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads if you'd like to check me out on any of those social medias. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye, everyone.